What's the most disturbing thing a caregiver has ever done? My brother Luke was my hero. When I was diagnosed with a chronic autoimmune disorder, he quit his job to become my full-time caregiver. "We're in this together," he'd say, handing me my morning pills. For the first year, I was so grateful I could barely see straight. But I wasn't getting better. In fact, I was getting worse. The brain fog was constant. I was sleeping 12, sometimes 14 hours a day. My doctors were baffled. They kept adjusting my medication, but nothing worked. I started to notice a pattern. I felt the absolute worst about an hour after Luke gave me my pills. I thought maybe it was a side effect, but it felt different. It felt like being drugged. One morning, he handed me the little paper cup with the 3 capsules. I pretended to toss them back with water, but I palmed them, hiding them under my tongue until he left the room. I spat them into a tissue. That afternoon, the fog was gone. I felt clear for the first time in months. I did it again the next day and the next. With each day, I secretly skipped his dose. I felt more like myself. I was terrified. Was I going crazy? I waited until he went out for groceries and went through the medicine cabinet. I found my prescription bottle. Then, tucked in the back, I found another bottle with his name on it. It was a powerful sedative prescribed for his insomnia. I took one of my real pills and one of his and compared them. They were almost identical. Same size, same color. He had been switching them. He was keeping me sick. But why? The answer hit me like a physical blow. The disability payments. I received a substantial check from the government every month. Since he was my caregiver, it all went into our joint account, an account he managed. I used my newfound clarity to log into our mobile banking app. I had to reset the password. He'd changed it. The transaction history was horrifying. Thousands of dollars spent on online gambling sites. Credit card payments for cards I didn't even know he had. He was drowning in debt, and my illness was his lifeline. The next week, a visiting nurse was scheduled for a routine checkup. This was my chance. When she arrived, I made sure Luke was in the room. I asked her, "Could you just confirm my morning dosage?" "Luke is so great about it, but I want to be sure." The nurse smiled and read the names of the medications from her chart. Luke stood there, nodding. Then I pulled out the little tissue from my pocket, the one with the sedatives I'd been saving. "That's funny," I said, my voice shaking just a little. "Because for the last 6 months, these are the pills he's been giving me." I handed them to the nurse. Her professional smile vanished. She looked at the pills, then at Luke. His face was ashen. He started stammering, saying I was confused, that it was the illness talking. The nurse just held up a hand to silence him. She looked at me, then at the pills again, and said calmly, "I need to call your doctor and the police." He did 3 weeks in county jail before I dropped the charges. But now I have to have a nurse watch me take every single pill.